I know you ain't going to help me, but I do feel like preaching. Yeah, you have to be careful what you call the church. The Bible already gives us all types of ideas and items so that we can know what the church is, so that we can remember what our purpose as the church is. And one of the most powerful and poignant images and ideas that the Bible uses to help define who we are and therefore disclose to us our purpose is the particular one that is in our text today. Paul is writing to the Corinthian people, and Paul says to the people, we are ambassadors for Christ. Now that particular designation for us, that idea is pregnant with all kinds of possibilities. Dr. Motley told me not to be long, so I will try my best not to exhaust all of the implications of the terminology, but I think we ought to rest there just a little while and see how much of it we can squeeze out of it so that we can be clear of who we are as ambassadors and what that means as our purpose as the people of God. He says we are ambassadors for Christ. Now, technically speaking, in the context in which Paul is writing this, he is actually more specifically talking about himself as a preacher or as an apostle. But even though he is talking about himself and others who preach when he says we are ambassadors, this designation, ambassadors, is not simply appropriate for the specificity with which he uses it, and that is just people who are in the preaching ministry. But it is also applicable to every twice-born, blood-bought believer in the body of Christ. Help me preach this. Look at your neighbor and say, we are ambassadors. Yeah, since we are ambassadors, I think it's important for us to understand what ambassadors are. What is an ambassador? Well, an ambassador is a representative from another country that goes to another country that works on behalf of the interests of the country it was sent from. That is, if you have an American ambassador that goes to China, the ambassador leaves America and he goes to China, and while he's in China, he may be in China, but he works on behalf of the interests of the American government that sent him. So that's what an ambassador is. An ambassador is a representative. And if in fact he says we are ambassadors for Christ, then that means that we are representatives sent by him. And we are sent to work for the interests of the one who sent us. One can see why Paul would say he was, as a preacher, an ambassador for Christ. For whatever else was branded in his spiritual psyche, it was the understanding that he was sent by Christ to do the bidding of Christ and work on behalf of the interests of the kingdom. But you know and I know that that cannot be simply true of all preachers. That's got to be true of every believer who has been saved. You are not saved to sit, nor saved to soak, or saved to shout. You are saved so that you can be a representative that is in the world to work on behalf of the interests of the one who saved you. Y'all gonna make me dig a little bit deeper. Well, let's look at some of the characteristics of an ambassador, and then I'll leave you alone. Consider, first of all, an ambassador's citizenship. I shared with you that an American ambassador is sent from America and may go to a place like China to work on behalf of the interests of the place that sent him. And yet, while he is in the jurisdiction of China, on the soil of China, his citizenship is still in America. Which means that even though he's working on behalf of the American government, he's in Chinese soil and he's in a foreign land. All that means, my brothers and sisters, is if in fact you have been sent as an ambassador for Christ, this world is not your home. You're just a pilgrim passing through. The moment you were saved by Jesus, that salvation changed your citizenship. Now your citizenship is not down here on earth. Your citizenship is in another world. Y'all are way too calm. You must not know the implications of being a citizen in heaven rather than on earth. But the Bible tells us that our citizenship is in heaven. So even though we're down here in China, even though we're here on foreign soil, please understand that your citizenship is not of this world. That's why Paul says that we are to be in this world, but not conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is the good, acceptable, and perfect will of God in this world. And so our citizenship is not here. Our citizenship is in heaven. We have kingdom citizenship. Now, notice, if you will, also, my brothers and sisters, that the ambassador has a particular office. His office is that of ambassador. But when you think about the ambassador's office, it is important to remember that the office is more important than the person. Yeah, the person is important, but the person does not get his authority from his resume. It doesn't matter how much schooling he has or she has. It doesn't matter how hooked up socioeconomically they are. It doesn't matter what they've been able to accomplish in their personal lives. The office that they have gets its power not from the person, but the office gets its power from the cause. Which means then that the person who holds the office becomes significant because of the cause that the person holding the office is identified with. The cause is always greater than the person who holds the office. And if that be the case, my brothers and sisters, it means therefore that there are times that you work as an ambassador where you must subordinate your personal interests for the sake of the cause. Nobody ever shouts when I preach like this. That means that it's not about you. Help me preach. Look at your neighbor and say, it's not about you. It's really not about you. Don't ever get so used to being an ambassador that you think that you're doing God a favor serving in the capacity